Happy Diwali to all of you. Today's video is going to be part of the travel series. So I'm going to be dealing with words that are related to travel. The first word I'm going to talk about is yes. We often have different versions of saying it. It's comfortable or comfortable, or there are different versions of it, but the right version, the right pronunciation for this word is comfortable. Comfortable. It has 4 syllables: com, f, t, bl. So it's 4, and you stress on the first part, which is come. So, and the come is like something is like cutting your throat. So the voice has to, the sound has to come from here. Oh, like there's something, like actually there's a force here. So it's come, and with the stress there. So it's comfortable, comfortable. And this BL is like bull, bull. So it's bull, comfortable, 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 comfortable. That's how you say it. We all know what comfortable means. It's like to be very happy, to be very pleasant in a nice, happy situation. If your travel was comfortable, the first thing we ask, how was your travel? How was your journey? Was it comfortable? How was your stay? Is it comfortable? So this is how we normally use this word. This we all know is an adjective of the word comfort. Comfort is it's got a slightly different meaning. Comfort is, of course, to feel that comfort, like something warm, like a comforter. I think that's how the word comforter came. Comforter is that quilt, the sheet you wear, which is thick and used during winters or when the AC is on. Then you have comfort is something also used in the context of consoling somebody. When somebody is really depressed or sad, then you comfort them. So that's comfort. And this word came from, that is the root meaning, the original meaning for comfort, to console somebody, to pacify somebody, to calm down somebody, to make a person strong. If you see the word origin of this word, you will understand this is the original meaning, and then it came to mean other things like keeping yourself happy and comforter or comfortable, and other meanings of that word evolved later. So the root word has come from the word fert or fortis. We know this. It's a pharmaceutical brand called Fortis, who also own hospitals. So fortis means to strengthen in Latin, to make something strong. And you have a prefix. Prefix is a word that you add to give more meaning. So the prefix con was used, C-O-N. So C-O-N plus fortis was used to make something more strong. Strong, more strong. We can notice this, or in some instances, it also means to add to something, like together, an addition. So if you notice this, you also use this prefix, like congress, conference. So words like this, which also mean this, the prefix con has a similar meaning to it, like add something, coming together, extra, things like that. So this word was formed, con plus fortis in Latin was formed to mean something to strengthen, to make it more strong. So that was how the first word was formed. And then the French borrowed it from Latin to make a word called comforter. I'm not too sure. I'm not a French expert to how to pronounce it, but if I'm sure, the word is still used in French to mean to pacify, to comfort, to console a person. It's the same meaning, and it's still used in French. So that is how the word comforter in French came, and then the English borrowed as comfort. Just the N was replaced with M, and it was comfort. So the actual word, the verb form of this word meant to console a person, so to pacify a person, to make a person strong, emotionally strong. And then the adjective form of it, of course, meant something like to make yourself happy. You ask, is your stay comfortable? Are you comfortable in this dress? Are you comfortable in this climate? Are you comfortable in this room? So that is how the word evolved. The next word I'm going to say is from my favorite topic of English, Indian English. Uh, yes, native place. Native place is a word used only in Indian English. It usually refers to the place where you were born or where you were raised or where your family or your ancestors belong. Uh, this is also the place that you often visit. Most of our Indians have a place where you belong to, but you don't live there. So people tend to call that as native place. But actually, the word used for it is hometown. That's my hometown. That's where I belong. You might not be living there, but that's where you belong. That's where your roots are. So the actual appropriate word to use is hometown. So if you're moving abroad or if you're talking to someone who's not aware of Indianisms or Indian English terms, then he might be clueless. He might really not know what you're talking about. Native English is very common amongst us. When two people in India mention a native place, we know what he's talking about. It's the place where he lives, where his ancestors lived, but he doesn't live now presently. He doesn't reside there. So the actual word for it is hometown. I just wanted to do this little bit of info in between my video because I do hear this word very often, and I've corrected several of them saying it's hometown. So it's hometown. And it's again okay to say native place if you're speaking to a person who understands what native place is. Just don't de-promote Indian English. Indian English is not a bad term. Indianisms is not looked down upon by the world. I have mentioned in one of the posts in the group that Indian English is gaining more and more importance across the world. I've had my tutors who've taught me from Cambridge and British Council, who give so much of importance to Indian English. They take lectures and workshops and they conduct conferences on Indian English. They write journals on Indian English. So I'm carrying the thought as well. And I have a lot of lecturers and professors who have done theses on this topic. Even the Cambridge Dictionary has a separate section for Indian English mentioning all the Indianisms and all the Indian terms that we use. That shows the importance that India has added to English. Let's look at it like the importance we have added to it, than looking down at it as something that we should avoid. Let's not avoid it. We are a huge population after all, and we have a huge brain drain. So let's make an attempt to embrace it, to accept it with grace. The next word I'm going to be talking about is a word that has been a troublemaker, a problem maker for most of us, including me. When I was growing up, every place, especially when you go abroad, has this a corner for tourists with this board, and I never known how to pronounce it. I've always pronounced it wrong until one day I took the dictionary and sought help. I saw how it's pronounced and I was like, oh, yeah, now I know how to pronounce it. So here I am to tell you the right pronunciation for this word. I'm sure when you see this word you will say, oh yes, I didn't know how to pronounce it. Yes. This word is something we come across very, very often, especially if you love traveling. If you've grown up in India, you cannot avoid travel. You always visit your native place at some point. But you'll not find this in just any small town. Mostly in tourist places, there's a board put up saying, you can pick these up for people who you go back to. This is pronounced as souvenir. Souvenir. That's how it's pronounced. It has 3 syllables. Sou, vun, nie, vun and nie. The R is optional, but if you're going to pronounce it, it has to be a half R, like the ka. The R is there, but you just give half the importance to it. It's like, that's it, just a pause, just a little bit of air. So, su, vin, vin. This E is like again half. So V and immediately nu. So vin, but there has to be a half E, a space for E. So suvin, nie, nie. We stress on the last part of it, nie, 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 souvenir, 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 souvenir. Hope you've got it. Because I'm saying it several times, even I'm struggling. But if you just allow me to speak, I would generally get it right. It's souvenir, souvenir, souvenir. Souvenir is something that you bring back from a place, especially tourist place, to the place where you actually reside, for the people who stay with you, or for your own purpose, to remember, for something that will remind you of the trip, the journey that you've taken. Like I'm in Kerala right now, and I've got myself a souvenir, and it's a cotton sari. It's not specific of this place. Generally souvenirs are specific of that place. Like if you're in Kerala, then you'll probably buy a Kathakali doll, or you would buy something made of ivory, or a Kerala sari, or a jimiki kamal. So something like that. But since I have all of this, I thought there was this sari, cotton kalamkari sari that I bought, that will remind me of this place. It could be just like anything like that, or it could be specific of that place. Like when you go to Singapore, it's mostly a medallion. If you go to Egypt, then there's a pyramid. If you go to Agra, then there's a Taj Mahal. So moment you see that, it could be a magnet, or it could be just a memento, a miniature figure in your showcase that reminds you of that trip, or you could gift it to someone, or you can get all this for the people who live with you, like your brother, sister, or parents, or anybody, your family who lives with you. And it could be a keychain, or it could be anything. So that's souvenir. It's got a very interesting word origin as well. I think mostly today it's again similar to comfortable. It started with the Latin word called subvenire. Subvenire meant something like deja vu, actually, which says that moment you have, in Latin, subvenire means something brings you something that suddenly occurs to you. Oh yes, I remember now. I remember. I have to do this. I have to do that. So it occurs to you suddenly, like it reminds you. It's like a reminder, sudden reminder. So that's souvenir, and then it evolved to the French word called souvenir. Again, I don't know how to pronounce it in French. I'm not taking any risks with that, but I think it's very similar, except that the V is elongated. Souvenir, I think so. So that is French word with the same spelling. If I'm not too sure, the French still use that word in the same context, to remember something. So that is souvenir in French, and that's how the English borrowed the French word and made it souvenir. It's a proper physical gift, or memory that you bring from a place to the place where you live, from the place that you visited to the place you live. That's souvenir. I'm guessing it's a busy day for all of you, since it's Diwali. You're either out there bursting crackers, or in there watching the television. But as usual, keep spreading the word. Like, comment, share, subscribe, add more members to the group, invite more members to the group, and keep the conversations going. And give me more topics, give me more subjects and issues to discuss on, if there's anything in particular. I do see a lot of suggestions coming in. Keep that coming. And there is a lot of encouragement coming again. Thanks for all of that, and happy exchanging.